Good morning, lovers. Okay, open it like that because that's what I was seeing in my head. And I was like, if I'm going to give y'all full, authentic me, then I need to give you all of me. So that's what I was thinking in my head versus, good morning. Today is Friday, January 31st, 2025. Can y'all believe that? And I'm not sure how long this will be because I don't have a lot of phone storage in my phone. But I want to tell y'all about this theory or this concept I have been obsessed with lately. And it's the poles, okay? This, for every energy, there's an opposite and equal energy at play. And generally, it is within yourself. But if you don't realize that, then all you see is the external forces at play versus you having control over that. So there's, today I caught a picture. I walked outside and my husband's Jeep, there was a panoramic view through the windows of the sunset behind me, or the sunrise behind me. And it was so beautiful in the reflection of his windows. And it looked almost like the clouds were mountains. And I took a picture, so I'll have to share those later. And then I turned around and took a picture of the actual sunrise of what was being reflected in the windows. And something that, so that idea would be more, what we see is not always, what we believe we see is not always what it is. But it still is what we choose to believe we see. And so sometimes we can look further, we can look past to what it could be. You always need to know what it is, why it is what it is, or keep in mind it is what it is, but always with the idea of what could be. So in the reflection I saw what could be. I bet that's what the mountains look like. However, if I just looked at the sunset, then I can appreciate the sunrise. Wow. Okay, the second draw and pull, and I took a screenshot of this because it was so picture perfect. It was the reflection of a giant mountain on a lake. So you saw, for as high as the mountain went, below was the equal of that depth. And I think that depth is inside of us. That pool of good and evil and self-acceptance, I think only really comes once you accept both your good and evil. You understand that there's a possibility that you have just as much good in you as you do evil, and vice versa. That you have just as much evil in you as good. It's dormant, but they're both there. We just choose which ones we choose to have more of a conscious role in our life. And I'll tell you, sometimes that evil comes out when you least expect it. And that's why you need to practice being good so much, or practicing putting on those those skills and forefronts, so that when something happens and the negative arises or the evil wants to arise, it's easier, not easy, but easier to resist, if you will. So those are my two ideas right now that I've been playing with a lot. And when you start to create and draw things from in the small things in life, I'll show you where I'm going with this. Okay, so those were the two main things that I wanted to point out that I've been toying with in my mind. Oh, okay, let me tell y'all what I like to do. I like to figure out everything by myself. Everything by myself, because then when somebody comes in and like, why are you doing it like this? There's an easier way. And then they show me their easier way. I feel like I have all of a sudden saved so much time, so much energy, because now my job went from being what I thought it was by what I figured out to somebody coming in and being like, no, you can do it this way. And it's like a lifesaver. Instead of me feeling stupid and dumb and why didn't I figure that out, I'm like, no, now I can do it that way, and I've saved myself so much more time. It's like this burden is all of a sudden lifted up from you. I think I speak in feelings. Like, I feel people's energy and I have energy. And when I speak, I think both about that person and their feelings and my feelings and how I would feel if I was that person or in that situation. I wasn't going to really film today originally, but then I needed to keep the streak going, right? I wasn't going to finish my week off with my last day not vlogging anything. Because my mind is kind of scattered. The same idea, but as you notice, if you have watched my videos, I'm sure you're very aware that I process my thoughts as I talk. Like, my thoughts and my ideas are all in my head, right? But then when you have to all of a sudden communicate it, you start to, everything before I say it, I want to make sure I'm sounding intelligent or that my point is coming across. So you can tell that I had a mentor or an instructor, a training instructor, tell me once, she said, I can see you thinking in your head. And my kids say that all the time too. They're like, Mom, why do you move your lips when you're just thinking in your head? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess it's the ADHD in me. I have to be, it's like you have to consciously say you're thinking it, but then you also have to speak it without speaking it. That's 2 times that I'm trying to process my thoughts. I don't know if that makes sense to those who do not have a brain like I do. But it's like you're saying it, but then you've also got to say it, but not out loud. It's kind of like using your fingers to read across the words. It helps me. Same thing like when I'm reading. When I'm reading, I'm talking it out loud, but not talking it out loud. But that's how I read. And that's how I can keep track of where I'm at. Okay. So yes, I always try to figure things out first. Then when somebody comes in with the easier way, it's like, wow. Or the second thing that will happen is I always try to figure it out. I read, I then try to come up with my own ideas on thoughts before reading the answer. Or before saying like, oh, I'm gonna see if I can come up with the right answer. It's rarely right, y'all, but everything is subjective that we read, right? Like it's how we interpret it. But when somebody else, when I come up with the idea on my own through my own thoughts, when I read that somebody else has already come up with that idea, instead of me feeling like, oh man, somebody's already come up with it, and being discouraged, I say, oh my gosh, this person came up with it too. I'm just as smart as so-and-so. So everything in life, y'all, your spirit, you become is what you believe in your head. And I think that is being your biggest cheerleader. Being so proud of yourself every step of the way. And I was thinking about this in childhood. I always wonder, like, I was never made fun of being funny looking. I was made fun of my name and for being really stupid. But I think it's because I was just observing all the time, or I would just people. Yeah, I was bullied for being stupid, but not really bullied, but bullied emotionally in school. So I think when you're constantly being told you're dumb, when you know you're smart, when everybody else thinks you're dumb though, and you do something smart, their reaction is so like, oh my gosh, wow, you did it, you are smart. Then that goes in your head, I knew it, I knew I was smart, and now they see it. Now they'll only see it for that one thing. But sometimes I think when people underestimate you, when you do something that they're not expecting, all of a sudden everything changes in their head. And because I know how smart I am, I know how many things I've gotten right and validated in life, coming up with my own idea first, and then finding somebody else had, you know, because everything is a culmination of ideas. We just put different names to it, or we added, you know, a bit more to it now because now we're expounding from here versus the beginning, right? So evolution has evolutionized. It's no longer just the Darwin theory now. There's other theories. Now there's the flat as earth theory. So So everything evolutionizes depending on the information we have and any new information we get. It's insane. Anyways, that's about it. I think I'm gonna go. All right. Yeah, this one was a little more discombobulated. But y'all, these are me talking them out. If you're watching the full YouTube link video, this is me talking out my thought process. Giving y'all a little glimpse into my mind and how, because it has worked for me, I'm letting you know maybe it can work for you. All right, have a great day.